had started this video off complaining about the lighting, and then my camera died, so I had to wait it even longer, and it got even darker. So that's a great start. This video isn't cursed at all. What's up, guys? Today we're going to do something different. Recently I've been punishing myself by going back onto my old fanfiction accounts and reading over what I used to write. I clearly hate myself, but it made me reflect on fanfiction culture. And where a lot of fanfiction is very good. It's very good, in fact. Like, it could be publishable. There's a lot of it that isn't. A lot of it's different. Sometimes in a good way. And that's an example that I'm going to show us today. Before we dive into this particular fanfiction, I need to explain the climate of the time that it was written. The fiction we're going to look at today was published in 2012. So it's a Hunger Games fanfiction, so it would have been published just after, because it's May 2012, just after the first film came out. And it's beautiful. It is parody at its best, in my opinion. But the entire theme of this particular story, and I love it, that's why I want to share it with you guys. I love it, and just looking back on my old fanfictions reminded me of the existence of this story, and I had to share it. It's called Peeta's Bad Day, and it's by a woman or man. I don't know why it's a woman. It could be anyone. Woman, man, they. We don't know. Called Van Piggy. And I love it. I loved it when I first read it, and I still love it now. But I haven't read it in a very long time, so this will be my genuine reaction to rereading it for the first time. It has to be kept in mind that this is heavily parody. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. This isn't a My Immortal kind of situation where this was published kind of seriously, but it was terrible. This was intentionally terrible. It was intentionally supposed to be funny. It's a play on the theme that kind of arose in the fanfiction circles of the Hunger Games fandom, where people decided, instead of the love triangle with Katniss, Peeta, and Gale, why not just ditch Katniss and have Peeta and Gale go together? Because that's a theme with love triangles. I think they did it with the Twilight shit as well. Like, why bother with Bella? Just ditch her and be with each other kind of thing. And the gist of this story, as we will explain the plot very briefly, is that Gale comes to the bakery to talk to Peeta. And it is the best piece of fiction I've ever read in my life. So, we're gonna get into it. The best parts come in the dialogue. So I'm not going to spend this whole thing, it's a very short story, it's 675 words, but I'm not going to spend this whole video just reading out the full thing. The best part of it comes from the dialogue. So we'll mainly be dialogue heavy here. I'm laughing already because I remember bits and pieces of it, but this is my first time reading it in years. And I remember when I first kind of came across it as a dumb teenager, I was kind of scandalized because I wasn't expecting this. Like, I was expecting a kind of serious story. I didn't notice the humor tag. It's tagged as romance and humor, so maybe they were going to continue with the romance thing in a funny way, but I was scandalized because I didn't see it coming, and I thought it was supposed to be serious, and then I got a big shock. So let's get into it. Peeta looked up as the bell above the door tinkled. Gale swaggered in the bakery like a cowboy, dead squirrely objects in each hand and a mission on his face. As Peeta started to go out back to fetch his father, a notorious eater of squirrel bits. Sounds like a joke, but it's actually true. His dad ate squirrels. But Gale said sharply, "No, wait. We have a lot to talk about." Is this about Katniss? I just read ahead. Peeta had been avoiding this conversation ever since he had returned victorious from the Hunger Games, but he couldn't avoid Gale for long. Gale was a hunter. For man flesh. Of course it's about Katniss. Gale glared into Peeta's dreamy bread-like eyes. What do bread-like eyes look like? I can't cope. That was a big thing particularly when the movie came out, the bread memes just took off. Like, Peeta's character could not escape the bread memes. It's always about Katniss with you, isn't it? Peeta didn't really know how to respond to this, as he shouldn't. What? Katniss with her stupid braid and her face and stuff. Yeah, her face. Is that why you like her so much? 'Cause bread sounds like the word braid. I thought as much. Gale slammed a dead squirrel on the counter and made a disgusted face. Wait. Isn't this the conversation where we fight over Katniss?
No, Gail murmured. This is the conversation where I confess my beautiful gay love for you and make out with you with flour spilled sexily on your abs. He leapt over the counter like a graceful otter, grabbed Peter and forcefully kissed him. Peter, using all the strength of a heterosexual man who has sworn his fidelity to the baguette, pushed Gail away. As all heterosexual males do, you swear fidelity to the baguette, obviously. There's like a whole ceremony and everything, I've heard about it. Gail, what the hell, dude? Peter grabbed a broom and shook threateningly at Gail. I barely know you. The idea of Peter like trying to hold Gail off with a broom is just, I mean, I'm surprised with this fic that he didn't grab a baguette. Kind of a missed opportunity there, but the broom works just as well. Gail gazed at Peter's beautifully bready face. Barely know you? I remember you from my first day of school. My father pointed at your father and said, do you see that douche? Owes me like $20 from a poker game. Steal his lunch money, son. So I followed you every day home from school. As you followed Katniss home from school every day, staring at her braids like some sort of sexy, fucked up, wheat-enhanced creature. And when I first looked at you, your teeth shone in the sun like the pearly gaze of that flower-shaped cookie you gave me once. Remember? No. It was pink and you smiled at me, and I knew then that you love me just as much as I love you. Gail sighed, looking into the distance of a memory. Then we made love on this counter. Peter edged away from the counter. I'm pretty sure I would remember that. Gail laughed. My bad. That must have been one of my sex dreams. I have loads of them. I write them down and read them to my chipmunk friends in the forest. One of. I write poetry too. The chipmunks love it. Gail searched around his pockets. Peter clutched his broom tighter and scanned the room for a better weapon. Still should have been a baguette. I still think it should have been a baguette. Oh wait, here, I found one. Gail cleared his throat and began to read. Peter, baker's son, plump and well fed. I see your face in every loaf of bread. I long to stick my fingers in your dough. Break through the crust, see how far they go. Peter interrupted with several gagging noises that resembled strangling cats. What the fuck are you doing to me, Gail? Fair question. Gail chuckled. Believe me, when I'm doing stuff to you, you'll know it's sugar tits. So, several things happened in the next 2 seconds. As Gail inched creepily towards Peter, Peter decided it would be a good time to break into tears and start attacking him with his broom. But just as the broom broke on Gail's rough and tough biceps, a scream penetrated the air of District 12 like Gail's fingers did in poetry. What was that? Peter ran to the window with shards of broomstick in his hands. Gail laughed. Oh, they probably just found Katniss's body. I shoved her off a cliff. It was awesome. What cliff? Gail sneezed. Oh, fuck. And sadly, we never got a sequel. We never got another chapter. That was it. And this kind of humor, this sort of casual kind of humor, was just the kind of thing that I needed to see more of in the fanfiction circles, because people took some things way too seriously when they were writing this stuff, and stumbling across a parody fic like that every so often was just, it was a lovely kind of refresher, a palate cleanser, so to speak, because people either wrote really bad romance, myself included, trust me, myself included, really bad romance shit going on, and or there was like really serious stuff that was really good that, you know, sometimes you're not in the mood to read something really serious. You want to just read like short things or one shots or stuff that's not as kind of heavy. And where I thought when I first read this I was going to step into possibly another ship that I hadn't really explored before, I was very much in the Kato Peta circles of the fanfiction kind of circles, but because that ship was so obscure, I kind of dipped into Gale and Peeta just out of curiosity. There's not a lot for it, which makes sense because Gale is an utter dick, but I found Peeta's Bad Day And what a bad day it was, huh? Like every heterosexual man that has sworn fidelity to the baguette, you would have a bad day if that happened to you. But I also kind of like the poking fun at Gail, because I'll take any kind of poking fun at Gail, even if it isn't even that funny. I'll probably laugh because Gail deserves it. And it used to be a point in my life when I used to not like making fun of PETA, and the bread jokes used to piss me off because I was a sensitive little twerp. But now, like, the bready face and the bread-like eyes, it's so, like, ridiculous that it's beautiful. Like, it's perfect. I love it. And it's so short, and we never got any more, and it was so disappointing. I'm pretty sure I have it in my follows just because, even though it was like it was written 10 years ago, 2012 was 10 years ago, people. If it ever got to the point where they updated with another chapter, I would be there. I would be there to see where this went. Why was Katniss pushed off a cliff? Was it solely because Gale wanted to make out with Peeta? What would that mean for the future of the games? Would Snow be pleased that Katniss is dead? Would the rebellion never happen? Or would Gale have to go into the Court of Quell with Peeta and continue to read him poetry that he has written? Or, you know, there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of potential, particularly for a parody. This small 600-word one-shot is better than all of the parody movies that they have put together for the Hunger Games. The Starving Games was boring. Like, it was like they trolled Tumblr and just took every single joke that the fandom was already making and put it into a parody movie. Don't know what the fuck the Hungover Games was about. Like, that was just weird. And I never read the parody book that was written. I don't even know if it's real, but like there's one with like a chicken, kind of like the image that the Starving Games stole. Or maybe the book stole it from the Starving Games. I don't know what came first. Peeta? Spyro? I just told my dog off, but I called her Peeta. She's called Spyro. This man is wrecking my life even 10 years later. I can't escape him. To be fair, my sister once considered calling her cat Peeta just to, I don't know, mess with me, so I'm not entirely in the wrong. But we should have got Van Piggy writing the parody films. Let's be honest. Don't go looking to annoy or harass Van Piggy. If they're anything like me, they haven't been on the fanfiction circles, like actually logged into an account for a very, very long time now. Their story is obviously just for fun. If you get offended by something that is just for fun and is clearly not made to be taken seriously, then I don't know what to tell you. Don't do that. Don't send hate just because something is supposed to be funny but you don't like it or don't think that it's funny. That's kind of pathetic. So don't do that. But I hope you enjoyed that short little reading as much as I enjoyed revisiting one of my favourite parody fics of all time for the Hunger Games. But then I haven't really read parody fics for anything else. Like, I think this is one of the very rare ones because I didn't really come across a lot. Although some of mine were so bad you would think that they were parody fics. And I wish I could claim that they were, but they were supposed to be serious. I literally had a girl giving birth to Josh Hutcherson's baby in the same room as him while he's in a coma after a motorcycle accident. And if you've seen my video where I read I Kidnapped Josh Hutcherson, another fanfiction I read, you'd know that I'm being deadly serious. This was the kind of stuff that I wrote. But anyway, that's it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I really, really hope you enjoyed that because I loved revisiting it. Don't send hate to the writer. I don't condone hate of any kind. If you send hate to people online, then you're pretty pathetic and sad. So now that we cleared that up, love you guys. See you next time. And remember, parody is just for fun. And I'm not a big fan of parody movies. Trust me, I'm not. But fics like that, I have a soft spot for them. I absolutely love them. So check it out. I'll leave the link in the description. No hate. Okay, guys? No hate. If you don't like it, just move on. Okay? I don't condone it. Anyway, bye-bye.